welcome to another episode of the It's Just a Hill Cycling Podcast. I am Jon Stenning, and I am joined by BSP, my podcasting partner in crime, talking about how my face changes right before I'm about to do the intro, which in turn makes your reaction change. Your face has changed dramatically since the last episode. You are beardless.
I'm beardless.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 5 o'clock
And
shadow-ish.
Yeah, it's coming in.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple days.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's been a little bit since the last time we saw each other.
Yeah.
Since the last time we did the podcast.
Since the last time we did the pod, yeah.
Yeah, that was virtual.
Yeah, the last few have been virtual, maybe. Or at least two.
Yeah, at least two.
Yeah. And then I just saw you kind of quickly
We did a group
this past
ride.
weekend for the group ride.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
But how have you been?
I've been pretty good, actually.
Have you been riding a lot?
No.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking. Is
No,
that
no.
okay?
Oh, yeah, it's okay with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
My knee was a little bit
Yep.
weird for a week and had to take a little time off, stay on the ibuprofen. But yeah.
You're on that ibuprofen regimen. Are you still on it?
No, I'm off it. I'm good.
Knee's feeling okay?
Yeah, yeah.
I was
I've been
feeling good at the ride.
Yeah, I did the 48-mile ride last weekend. It was nice.
Yeah.
No problem, luckily. So
More people on the B ride than the A ride. Love to see it.
yeah, it was a good group.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we had a solid 6 in the A group, and
Yeah.
it was nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice ride. I like that route. I think that was pretty close to another route that I had come to.
Pretty similar, but did you notice one thing? Riding from South County, I know this is very regional, this is very like local specific, but riding from our Richmond start, we did not hit 91 on that ride.
Yes, we just crossed over it.
Crossed over it barely.
Yes.
Just a kiss of it.
Yeah, the first like quarter of the ride was a little bit different than I think the last time.
Yeah, I don't
that
really
came to
remember routes.
Yeah.
People ask me like, "Hey, do you have a good route?" Chances are yes, but there's about 600 on my Strava. I always
Yeah.
make a new route.
Oh yeah,
I don't look at other.
gotta keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And also this year when I've been riding, I and also generally when I ride alone, I don't make routes for myself. I don't know if
I'm
you
a
do that.
50% of the time for myself.
Yeah.
If I'm like trying to do 80 miles, I'll do it. But actually, not even all the time because I can like
Yeah.
put them together in my head. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like though for me, if
This
I
is
do,
great chat. I love this actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love this.
I like route stuff. I like route chats, even though I don't
Please.
like to follow a route when I'm alone. I
Yeah.
like route chat and direction chat.
Great. I love how this is going
So-
off the rails right away. Let's talk about route chat. We didn't have this written down, but I love this because I think there's so many things that we could talk about here. But let's stick to the task at hand. You're going and riding by yourself,
Yes.
right? We're talking by yourself.
Yep.
If you're riding with a group ride, like if you're coming to an IJAH ride, there's a route. If you have a head unit or your phone, hopefully you have it loaded on there. If you don't know how to do that, you can just ask. If you can't afford a head unit, that's fine. We get it. Don't ride in the front, but you're riding by yourself, right? What do you normally do?
No route.
No route. What are you looking at beforehand? You're looking at the weather. I assume.
I'm checking the wind direction.
You're checking the wind direction. Are you generally, even without a route, riding into the wind first?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are kindred spirits when it comes to that.
Yeah. Always
Right.
have been.
We always have been. We've talked about wind direction for years.
Yeah.
Wind direction is important.
Yeah.
Some day, like when I'm riding by myself, this is interesting. Adam, IJAH's own, Bike Rhode Island's own and IJAH's own, Adam Carroll. We did D2R2 recently together. He was like, I didn't even look at wind direction for this. Yeah, you're doing D2R2. It's Saturday at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You can't change it anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to do the route in reverse.
Yeah.
You know? But you're going out from your house on a random Tuesday afternoon. Mm-hmm. You're going to ride into the wind first.
I'm going to ride into the wind first.
Why?
So that I can do a circular-ish route
Yep.
and then have tailwind for at least the latter third.
Right. It's not
my ride.
like a genius hack, but that's a hack.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's super nice.
Yeah.
And so I think it's there. This is the time of year where the wind isn't super strong. A lot of mild wind this time of year, sort of out of different directions, but it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
In the next couple
about
months,
to transition.
In the next couple months, it's going to get a lot windier.
Yeah.
And people will be like, oh, it's so windy out there.
Yeah.
Riding into a headwind is a great workout. And my voice cracked a little bit there because I was
I actually didn't hear it.
so
Or I didn't
passionate
notice.
about it. So passionate about it.
The emotion is
Riding into the headwind
breaking out of it.
is a good workout. And then having like a 15 to 20 mile per hour tailwind on the way home, it's a godsend.
Yeah, I generally hate,
It's doping.
I hate cycling
I love
when
the
I
wind
start.
at my back.
And then like halfway through the ride, I'm all warmed up. I get a tailwind. Like, yeah, cycling's great. Love
Yeah.
going on the bike.
Uh-huh.
Love riding my bike.
Love riding your bike.
But it gets pretty dark during my warm up,
How long is your warm up generally? Do you have a designated time?
No, I just maybe like a half hour before
Yeah.
I'm like feeling
Okay.
Like sometimes it'll take a full half hour or so where I'm just feeling like crap and feel like, you know what, I'm just going to turn around. Shouldn't even do it today. But I stick
I've
with
been
it.
there. Uh-huh.
Stick with it. And then those are some of my best rides where like by the end I'm feeling incredible.
During the warm up, are you doing anything specific in terms of cadence, in terms of power, in terms of heart rate? What are you looking at anything there, or is it just based on feel? How does that work?
I would say within the first few miles, I'm definitely thinking about trying to keep heart rate lower and spinning out the hills.
Yeah.
So as not to put in huge efforts right off the bat.
Yeah. I think spinning is great for a warm up and is just generally better in the beginning of a ride.
Yeah.
You're less lactic acid buildup that way, right?
Yeah, just warming up the muscles, not trying to hammer right away.
Yeah,
and then
sometimes I
after
feel
the
good
first, well, I
immediately.
also, yeah, sometimes you can. I think it also
Well,
depends.
maybe at least 5 minutes. I'll give myself 5 minutes
before you start thinking about it.
Yeah, before I start thinking
Yeah.
about riding harder. You know?
I think it also depends on food that day too. Some days I like if I'm riding later in the day, it's just I've had maybe 2 meals as opposed to 1, and that's had a lot more time for the energy to get in me. And right off the bat, I might feel pretty good and feel like I have enough energy. Whereas if I wake up in the morning and like kind of have to eat a small amount and then immediately ride, I just feel like I got nothing in me.
I think it's the exact opposite for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm like 2 meals deep in a snack, I'm like feeling sluggish.
Really?
But in the morning, I'm fresh. Like if I didn't know it was bad for me, I would ride on an empty stomach way more often than I do. I used to do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I used to ride fasted because like it felt good and like a scientist would tell me I'm a fool, right? If I'm trying to like get gains, which like, let's be honest, I am like, I'm trying to progress in my cycling, riding fasted all the time is not, scientifically proven to be like the best way to like, help your stamina or anything. I think there are certain pros and cons to it. Doing it all the time is certainly silly, but in the morning, yeah, and I feel like eating is a bit more of a chore for me in the morning. In general, off the bike, I'm just not much of a morning eater. So if I know I'm doing a big thing like D2R2, spending 8 hours on the bike, I'm going to wake up and eat food. But it's not like the same way I feel about food after a ride, where I'm like, yes, like give me all the food, especially after a long day. You know, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna ride this evening.
Yeah.
We talked about it before. I don't love riding at night. I just like don't love riding in the evening because I feel like I've got the day's meals, not only the meals, but like the stress of the day on me, the fatigue of the day on me. In the morning, I'm like, I'm fresh,
Yeah.
I haven't been bouncing around in my head all day. Oh my God, what the hell? Is that the first time a fire alarm's ever gone off on the podcast? On this one, at least.
It wasn't that one in this room.
No, I hope Jocelyn's okay. I mean, maybe she'll tell us something.
Maybe it's
You think
that's not a low battery one, is it?
No. Low battery is just like a chirp.
A chirp. Yeah, that wasn't a chirp.
Yeah.
That might be a warning, like a battery warning.
You think so?
Or like a lifetime warning.
Like our lives are about to end?
No, like the life of the unit is getting near its end. Versus a chirp is just for battery.
You don't think it was a really, really fast smoke alarm? It was only 2 beeps.
I don't know. It was only 2 beeps and it stopped. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Jocelyn.
Oh, Jocelyn says, yeah, no idea why that happened. All right, well, this can stay in the podcast or it doesn't have to. Okay, so what else do we have to say about routes?
Routes. Oh, I was going to say that the only time lately when I make a route for myself.
Oh, you say route too?
Route as opposed to route?
I don't know. We could talk about that.
Route. I say route, I think.
Okay. I think you do.
I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah, how about you say route?
Yeah. No, I say route.
Yeah?
Yeah, like Route 66. I just say route.
Wow. if I was going to say Route 66, I would definitely say Route 66, not Route 66.
Yeah, but if you're making
But if
something
I'm
on
making
Strava, it's
a route, I would say probably, I think I'd say route.
a route. Okay.
Anyway, if I want to go long and need to spend significant time and effort on the bike, I'm probably going to do that and make a route for myself.
Sure. That's what I'm more likely to do.
But if I'm just going out for an hour or two,
Yeah.
want to get exercise and enjoy my time on the bike just to get a break from the day,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not making a route.
Right. You're just going to go in the direction you're going to go and turn around at some point.
Yeah.
You know the roads well enough around you.
Yeah, and then, as long as you know the roads too, it's just like,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for 20 or I'm going to go for 30 so I know where I need to go. Right. And I like the options. And I know you and I have talked about that before, where we've ridden together without routes maybe a few times where we're just like, or maybe we'll start with a route and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
No, let's change this, and then we just make decisions on the fly, and I think that's really fun. Yeah,
I think when you're riding with your buddies, the guys that you ride with like a lot, guys or girls that you ride with a good amount, then that's fine. Then that flies, Yeah. But an organized group ride, like I just don't think it's the best decision. No, or maybe it is for you if you have like a ride leader that's like always in front, like always calling out turns. But like on a 50-mile group ride, I don't want to ride in front the whole time. No. As much as I know I can take some fucking monster pulls out there, I don't really I don't need to be out there the whole time calling out turns. I want to be able to sit in the back and take 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're doing a big long group ride like that, and you plan on just having one person up front calling the turns, what if someone sort of falls off the back?
True.
You didn't notice.
True. Middle of nowhere.
Then what are they going to do?
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
They're just going to do their own ride at that point. So
yeah.
Anyway.
No. So. But you haven't been riding too much lately.
No, not too much.
But, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it.
But the knee felt good at the last group ride.
Knee felt good. Thank you for asking.
Good. Oh, you're welcome.
What about yourself?
Well, we mentioned it. I did D2R2. It was my first time doing it. Did it with Adam. Yeah. Also rode with Rich Dalgurda. Fuck, I fucked up his name more than once on the podcast. Sorry, Rich. Dalgurda. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm like 99% sure. We all got in the night before. We happened to stay at the same motel as Rich. Nice. We just saw his van parked there with it's just a hill stickers on it.
You didn't party together or anything?
No, we didn't party beforehand or anything. I believe Rich went and signed in early. You could like register, you could like sign in the night before. We pre-registered. Well, we got to go there, get all of our stuff, sign in. It was like, where the start was. Yeah. We drove to this seedy motel, woke up at like 4 a.m., drove back. It was like a 20-minute drive. Started the ride at like 6 a.m. It was a great ride. It was a great ride. It's a great event. There were like mad people. We did the 180K, which was like 110 miles. Yeah. And like 14,000 feet of climbing.
Is that the longest route option?
Correct. Yeah.
And there's like 3 different options?
There's like 5.
Oh, even more. Wow.
Yeah, there's like a 180, a 160. These are all kilometers. Yeah. 180, 160. There's like a 120. There's 100. There's a family ride. There's like a tour of this certain river ride. All the funds go to the Franklin Land Trust, which is, making sure that land is not being developed in this area of Massachusetts. I would call it central Massachusetts, the Deerfield area, near Hadley, near sort of Heath. This is all the places that we rode through. We dipped up into Vermont a little bit, came back down into Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
I burned 5,670 calories.
That's a lot.
4,950 were active calories over the course of 9 hours and 12 minutes, 8 hours and 15 minutes of riding. So it's like
8:15 ride time.
It's a little bit harder than Greylock. You've done Greylock before.
Yeah.
I would if I had to like sum it up to events in the area, I would say in terms of like my a training stress score or calories burnt, probably about 10% like harder than that Greylock ride. A little bit more elevation, slightly longer. But then you're looking at gravel bikes on gravel, So
I was going to say, it's a gravel ride. For anyone that doesn't know, I don't know if you stated initially that it was a gravel ride.
Yeah, it is a gravel ride, mostly gravel roads. I would say of the 110 miles, maybe 5 miles were on like trail, 5 to 10 miles were on trail, and two of those sections were downhill. Which is the stuff that I'm not technically the most like confident in, but it wasn't too much of that by any means. I've done events before, like Overland, for example. It's like a little bit too technical for me. Like I get like super nervous when I'm doing all that techie stuff.
I was going to ask how that D2R2 route compares to Overland. Yeah. Or even, obviously Overland's a race.
True.
D2R2 is not.
No, this was not a race. This was really we just rolled out when we wanted. It wasn't even a mass start.
Yeah. So when chill. You say that you compare like more comparable, D2R2 was more comparable effort wise to Greylock.
Yeah. A ride like that and a ride like Overland doesn't compare in the terms of effort because that's like a 2.5 hour difference between like an Overland and like something like Gray Log or D2R2. You know what I mean? Even though it is a race effort.
Overland being longer?
No, shorter.
Shorter because of your
Overland's like 65 miles or something.
Oh, yeah.
This is 110.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. So that's like, why it's more comparable to Gray Log versus Overland, even Overland being
I mean, if, like, don't get me wrong. The person that won Overland this year did it in 3 hours. Like, that's wild. Wow. You know? And Adam friggin' did it in like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something. Like,
really?
Super impressive. Yeah. Adam came in like... Didn't Adam come in like 26th? 26th? 56th? Something like that. I'm sorry that we're not like I didn't fact check this, but Adam did really well.
Sorry. I meant to check in to see how
he did like really well. Yeah, and Overland is really hard, but it's very technical. But like you said, it is a all race day effort. This is a different type of effort. It's like an endurance effort, you know. But yeah, I mean, just like a long day, you know. But a lot of fun, and I will go back and. Yeah. I got a hat that I really liked. It was only like $10, like a cycling cap. It's right near the Yankee Candle Factory. The Yankee Candle Factory is in Deerfield.
I didn't even know
like
that.
Yankee Candle headquarters.
Yeah.
There's a D2R2 candle that you can buy. I did not buy it, but Rich did. And it's like scent of smelly cyclist or something. It's like a funny, it's nice.
I don't know why I said, I mean, I guess it's fitting. You got to do something fitting. I was just...
It might not be smelly. It's like scent of active cyclist or scent of...
Does it smell bad?
No, I think it smelled nice. It smelled like pine or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like it's got to be...
No, it smelled nice. Yeah.
It's a gravel race. You're out in the woods, all that stuff. It's got to be like...
Yankee Candle isn't going to...
It's got to be like piney, balsamy.
They're not going to do any gimmicky thing, you know?
Yeah.
This isn't a Harry Potter jelly bean.
I didn't even know they were out of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But I guess Yankee.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So, did the ride go near the factory?
Pretty close. Started really close.
Could you smell it?
Yeah. Yeah, you could smell it. Smelled
what did it smell like?
Wax. a bunch of different scents at once, kind of like apple cinnamon and like autumn leaves, but still like this like heavy base of just like wax.
Just wax, yeah. Was the wax smell reminiscent of passing Bradford soap?
A little bit, but way stronger because Yankee Candle is like a nationwide, maybe worldwide brand. And Bradford soap is like a mill, maybe, you know, like that makes soap for just Arctic. Like I have no clue. Where does that soap go?
Yeah, do they still make soap? It smells like they make soap, but I don't know where it goes.
Bradford soap, it's in West Warwick, Rhode Island, one of the gems of southern New England. And it's right on the bike path, and you can ride by it, and it smells like soap, and they've made soap there forever. I went to elementary school, like, down the street from there. It used to smell like soap 30 years ago. It still smells like soap. Sometimes the water is sudsy. I feel like that's a problem. Like, DEM should go in there.
Has to be.
Last time on the show, we talked about, like, bike paths and the legislation with bike paths. And now we need to talk about how DEM needs to go to Bradford Soap and find out. Maybe we need to go like ask Allison from Allison Bologna on WJAR. These are all really Rhode Island references that some people hopefully are really getting, but some people aren't. But that's okay. I also went to Maine and I rode my bike in Maine a lot. And I've never been to Acadia before. And I'm gonna put out a video about it. But riding and going to Acadia is like it was next level. And that's another thing I would do over and over again.
Yeah. So you went on a nice trip.
Yeah, Jocelyn and I went on a nice like 5 or 6 day trip. We started in Kennebunkport. I rode around there. Then we went to Portland. I rode from Kennebunkport to Portland. Great ride for the first like 50 miles. The last 30 miles were absolute trash. I think I drank too much caffeine. Didn't have enough sugar in my bottles.
Oh, like you just felt bad, or
both? I felt. Well, I wasn't like cracked or bonked or anything. I just felt like high anxiety, and there was so much construction. Like going through Portland, I like went through the city on the outskirts a little bit to get down to like the South Lighthouse, like over in Cape Elizabeth town.
Yeah,
and it
Cape
was
Elizabeth,
just like so many stoplights and so much construction. And I went through like Gorham, Maine, and it like I went from Kennebunkport up to Sebago Lake, and then went back down. You know why I went up then down? Because I wanted a tailwind on the way back, and the wind was coming out of the friggin' northwest.
Nice.
So I rode into the wind, and then got to kick back. And it was really nice, back roads and stuff.
So where did you end?
In Cape Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. Did you end at the lighthouse?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like in that park.
Gotcha. So then you had to come down and zigzag in through South Portland into Cape Elizabeth.
A little bit. I stayed like on the outskirts, but there was a part where I was very much like in strip mall land, and it was a lot of lights. And I did make a route on my phone. I had made a bunch of routes before I went up there. I abandoned it because of the fucking wind. I was like, I want a little bit of a tailwind. I made a few that just like went right up the coast that would have been maybe shorter,
Gotcha. So then last minute you were looking at the wind and you decided, I'm going to make a route on my phone.
Yeah.
Did you do the like draw it with your finger and then let it snap to the grid?
I did.
Cool.
No, maybe I didn't draw. I did a lot of like clicking this point, like, go to this road,
okay. And then
go to this road, go to this road.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of undoing and redoing because I saw that like I pretty successfully I had a good like I said, first 50 miles were nice.
Yeah.
I went to like nice general store, like middle of nowhere, all that sort of stuff. But it was just I don't know how I don't really know another way around it other than like adding 30 miles. I just didn't have the time for that, know. So then Jocelyn and I went to a show that night in Portland, and then we drove up like the other 3 hours to Acadia, rode around there, carriage roads, rode up Cadillac Mountain, rode up Day Mountain, did a lot of hiking. But it was like really great. I'd never been up there before, and it was great for riding. I just brought my gravel bike, rode my gravel bike on like all those unpaved roads that like cars can't go on.
You only brought one bike.
Yeah, well,
and it was your gravel bike.
Correct. We both brought our gravel bikes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so
you get a little riding in together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, we rode around Witch Hole and Eagle Lake, I think it was. Witch Hole and Eagle Lake were just like pretty, relatively flat, like carriage roads that went right around the lakes and stuff.
Oh,
and
cool.
That was nice.
Really
like
scenic.
13-mile ride, super scenic.
All scenic up there.
Yeah,
I actually have not been to Acadia. I might have driven through maybe some of the outskirts of it. I don't even know exactly off the top of my head where the main roads are near it. Like, does Route 1 cut through it at all?
So Route 1 goes really close to it, yeah. But if you were to do like 95 would like outskirt it too much. It goes up like Bangor and stuff, so it like bypasses it.
Maybe I haven't even done one along there. Yeah. Like, I've been to other coastal spots along Maine, north of that area.
Are we talking like Penobscot? We talking Booth Bay?
Oh, like Camden.
There we go.
Camden, Rockland, and then I can't even think of...
okay, yep.
Can't even think of another.
We stopped in Booth Bay, went
to
a really nice botanical garden.
Botanical garden?
Yeah, it was great.
Let me sit real quick. I already got it. What do you got? Town. Machias.
All right,
which is like along the coast, almost in Canada.
Oh.
It's getting pretty close to Canada.
Higher up than Acadia.
Oh, yeah, by far.
You drove there?
Probably another 45 minutes at least. Yeah, that was with a band who play this Blueberry Festival.
Oh, man. Okay, well, let me also talk about that.
It was great.
So, like,
did you go to a Blueberry Festival?
No, I didn't go to a Blueberry Festival, but I will say I was very ignorant to the blueberry scene in Maine before I took this trip to Maine. I've spent a lot of time in southern Maine. I've spent time in Portland.
Yeah.
I've spent time in Agunquit, Kennebunk, Kittery. I've ridden my bike around there. It's fine, Like, there's donut shops. I feel like there's a little bit of, like, that, like, New Hampshire adjacent syrup culture, which isn't necessarily the Vermont syrup culture, if you ask me. Don't get me started on Vermont versus New Hampshire.
I won't.
Please. People are upset with me about my take that Vermont makes New Hampshire look like Warwick, Rhode Island. And that's all I'm going to say. But I wasn't aware of this blueberry. I wasn't aware how big blueberries were. And we were there, prime blueberry season. I had like 4 different types of blueberry pie. I got blueberry pie from one place twice. I had blueberry donuts. I had blueberry ice cream. I went ham on the blueberry, and I can...
You went ham on the blueberry?
I went ham on the blueberry.
Did you start calling each other Violet?
Jocelyn wasn't as into the blueberry as me.
No?
No. She wasn't as... I mean, she tried every pie, but I was like, let's get pie, and Jocelyn would be like, let's get ice cream, which is a pretty good match in Maine. You can get a lot of ice cream and a lot of pie at a lot of different places.
Yeah. Blueberry pie.
Yeah.
A la mode.
But yeah, that's it was great. It was great, and I really enjoyed the outdoor of it. Right. I think that's a big reason why I like to ride my bike is I like to spend time outside and like in the fresh air. And this place was, I mean, Acadia is $35 for a week. You get a week pass for $35.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
$5 a day. There's a free trolley, so you can park in one spot and take a trolley around all day.
What?
There's places to eat. There's hiking trails. There's like one of the nicest sand beaches I've ever been to. Listen, I don't work for the Maine Board of Tourism or anything, but they can sure as hell hire me. I'm not wearing my Acadia National Park hat right now, but I loved it, and I will be going back there. And it has inspired me to want to go to every national park. I've only been to 2, maybe 3. I've definitely been to the Grand Canyon, and now I've been to Acadia. I've driven through Saguaro National Park in Arizona. I don't know if that counts. Does driving through count as going? I didn't like stop. I drove through. It's nice. It's cool. But
I think you get it on technicality.
Thank you. On a technicality. All right, perfect.
It's different than if you say that you've been to a town, but you've only had a layover at the airport.
That's
doesn't definitely
count. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, that doesn't
But if you
count.
drive through the park,
Yeah.
you saw some of it.
Oh, it was beautiful. Jocelyn and I drove through.
I think you get it.
Yeah.
Because then what's the threshold? You have to get out of the car. How long do you have to spend outside
You
of
have
the
to
car?
take a photo. You have to take a photo. Yeah, you have to spend.
You have to take a photo. You have
You
to
have to
take a
spend
selfie.
11 minutes outside of the car. It has to be more than 10 minutes.
You have to sit and then meditate. 5 of those 11 have to be a short meditation.
Yes. You have to take a picture with the sign. Also, or you can take a picture with the Smokey the Bear that's there, because they all have a Smokey the Bear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But I hate to make this like an ad for NBX. Go to NBX. But the bike rack that I got has kind of changed the road trip game for Jocelyn and I, because now we can bring both bikes, no problem. I don't have to have a bike in the back of the car.
Yep.
Packed out the back of the car, like brought beach chairs, full, it was the first like road trip that we did that her and I did with the bikes on the back of the car, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so,
that's great.
Yeah, I just like highly recommend get just like any old bike rack. I got a Kuat, but I don't think it really matters. But for someone like me who drives a smaller car, a lot less room.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
because you've done sort of similar trips even since we've been close.
Yeah.
And I know you have to put the bikes probably in the back of the car, and then you take less stuff, so they're a bit shorter trips. Like you've kind of just done weekend trips, whereas this one,
100%. Yeah.
not only was it longer, you even were having such a good time, you had an extra day.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
If you had to pick one thing
Yep.
from the trip,
Yep.
let's
Okay.
do it this way.
Okay.
Give me your peak and pit of the trip. One thing, top and bottom,
Of the whole trip?
of the whole trip. What was the worst and what was the best?
The worst was the hotel that we stayed at in Kennebunkport was racist as fuck. It
Oh,
seemed
boy.
like racist. It was called the Colony Hotel, and it had like Get Out vibes.
Oh.
And it was very much like elite New England vibes. And like where like the help were the non-white people, and the people who were staying there were the white people. And it was like a nice place, and we liked it there, but we left being like, we don't want to come back here. And it was kind
left
of
saying,
Yeah.
probably shouldn't go back there again.
And honestly don't know if I will go back to Kennebunkport again. Like it was a nice little town. It's
Yeah.
very touristy. We did everything. Like, we walked around. We went into all the shops.
Yeah.
It was nice. The riding wasn't great. It's really picturesque, but it's kind of just like too bougie and like really like really consumer driven. And so I'd say that would be the low light of the
Okay.
trip.
I haven't been there. I've been to Kennebunk, but not Kennebunkport.
Yeah. I mean, 10 minutes from each other, not
yeah.
too
They're just
much
up
different.
the road from
yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
But probably slightly pretty different vibes, because I remember the center of Kennebunkport was not really like that. I'm sorry, Kennebunk.
Kennebunk
was
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah. What was my peak?
What's the peak?
Well, I have to say the peak was climbing Cadillac Mountain, the highest
peak was the peak.
on Mount Desert Island. That was really nice. I met a cyclist up there who was touring, like from Vancouver all the way to her home in like Nova Scotia, and
Oh,
I
wow.
rode by her on the ride up the mountain. And when I was up there taking photos, she got to the top, like 2 minutes after me, and she gave me like a friendly wave, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And we ended up talking for like 10 minutes. I took her photo. I haven't edited them yet, but I'm like about to send them to her. She was super nice. She was riding from like she started in Queen Victoria Island, I think, like over in Vancouver.
yeah.
And I don't know Canada that well. Drove mostly through Canada, dipped into the States a couple of times, and then was going to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia area to to end the ride, and then was taking a train back to Montreal, where she was from. And so that was really cool. Riding around with Jocelyn was great. Honestly, I will say Acadia, period. Like the whole, I really couldn't believe it. I like enjoyed going to the beach there, you know. I'm not the biggest beach guy, but that beach was nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like a nice place.
You made it sound really nice. I really want to go. Nice. Yeah. And now that I'm looking at the map, I definitely have not driven even close to it.
It's really neat.
Unfortunately.
We'll be going back.
But I would love to. That sounds great. I think I've definitely been sleeping on that.
It's not that bad. It's only like a 6-hour drive, and I live way the hell down here, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't
that bad
at all.
Yeah.
But like, and you did it. You stayed in a couple different spots.
Yeah, we hopped and skipped on the way up.
Yeah,
and on the way back, we just did like the 6-hour drive. We stopped in Portsmouth at the Roundabout Diner to get food in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty much the longest stop that we did.
About.
You know,
the Roundabout Diner, that's right. It's I know. Yeah,
it's like right near this big interchange
south of downtown. Yeah, right off the highway, right where Route 1 bypasses.
Yeah.
You ever go to the right after you cross over the bridge from Portsmouth into Maine?
Mm-hmm.
You ever go to the Bagel Caboose?
I know. I've seen the Bagel Caboose. I've never been. I actually think maybe even we've talked about it. I haven't been. Yeah. We did go down to Kittery.
Sometime.
I went to that big Maine outpost,
it's in Kittery.
The Maine trading post.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that spot.
Kittery
trading post.
I've had forgotten my sandals at home, and so I bought these there.
Wow. The color of them made me think that they were like all scuffed up. But now I'm seeing that it's like almost like a tie-dye print.
It's like a tie-dye print. Yeah. But yeah, fun trip. Maine is fun.
That's great.
And so
it seemed like
it's a nice time of year to be traveling in New Hampshire, I think.
Certainly.
I'm trying to fucking drive up to New Hampshire next week, even if it's all by myself, and ride the Kank or something. But it's a nice time of year. And the cider donut rides are happening, and cider donuts are places. So we at least got to go to Pippin Orchard.
Oh, definitely.
Clyde's. Have you ever been to Clyde's in Connecticut?
I don't think I have.
All right, let's go to Clyde's. Even if we just drive you there, because you haven't been riding your bike that much.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that next week, but I'm going to be playing some music in New Jersey next weekend.
Oh, my God.
So I already need to take Friday off for that, so I don't have time to...
I wasn't trying to pressure you into it.
No, I don't think you were.
Press you.
I'm just saying I legit would have loved to do that. Can we got the rest of the fall, though. So
can we talk about tires?
Let's talk about tires.
We've talked about tires a bit off the podcast, I think. You were the first person. Definitely. You're the first person I've ever known to run Michelin tires by choice.
By choice.
I mean, I think I've seen Michelin tires on other people's bikes, but I remember you being like, "I'm buying these Michelin tires." You had nice blue Michelin tires.
I had blue sidewall.
I'm curious. I see a lot of tire talk online. I hear it on podcasts. Tires are getting wider and wider, right? I feel like it was just a couple years ago people were riding 28s, and now it's like 30s, 32s. Pog won the Tour on 30s. But more importantly than the width of a tire on the casing is like tires can have different widths depending on your rim width, right? Because internal rim width is also now getting wider. I think for the longest time there were like sub 20 mil internals, and now tires that, or wheels that want a 30 or a 32 might be like a 24 internal or something. And those tires can blow up to as wide as like 34 millimeters. So I'm curious, is that what type of tire do you run right now on your bike, on your road bike?
Right now I have GP 5000s.
Yep. Continental. Yep. Do you know how wide?
28.
28, yeah.
I've never measured them actually, like on my rims.
Right. And what rims do you run?
I'm running Reserve brand 50 mil.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Reserve now, they are making wider internal wheels. And they say that the Vittoria 29s are like the best tires for their wheels. So like those two companies are working together, and they're saying like the optimized tire, right? Because this is all about like optimization, which I think is like this bigger picture thing that is quite popular in people that, like to, there's a lot of different people that like to ride bikes, right? Yeah. But I think people like, let's say myself, that like cares about maybe wearing tighter clothes or cares about performance, right? There's different things that you want to optimize to be more efficient or faster or however that pans out. And people are talking about tires so much. I run Conti GP 5000s too.
Yeah.
I run 30s.
You have 30s right now, yeah.
About a year ago, I was on 28s. Maybe a little over a year ago, I was on 28s. Those wore out, and I couldn't find 28s for whatever reason. It was before I was doing this full relationship with MBX, so I couldn't just easily order things through the shop. I went over to a Pirelli Zero based on the recommendation of Ben at MBX. That was a great tire. They sort of wore out quickly. I did use them a lot in the winter, but the tread was gone on them quickly. Then I went to the Schwalbe Pro 1s, which were great, and I felt confident on them, but also wore out quite quickly. And now I'm back to the 30 GP 5000s. I put those on just before Greylock. And as much as I thought that the Pirellis and the Schwalbes were good, I don't think anything beats the GP 5000.
I've had very good luck with them, but maybe it's not luck. I don't know.
They also last I think they last a long time.
Yeah,
the puncture resistance is great. The rolling resistance, right? They have solid puncture resistance, and they have the best rolling resistance of all high performance tires, right? And I felt, maybe it's because I had ridden them before, but when you put on a new tire, your confidence isn't like what it was on the previous tire. Because you put out so many hours and so many miles. Yeah. When I went back to the GP 5000, it felt like, the old term of phrase, it felt like riding a bike.
Yeah. You really felt it, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I felt it.
When you went back on them.
Yeah, I felt it. Yeah.
Hello, do you feel like old friend.
Do you feel like do you think that's all in my head, or do you think that's...
No, I don't think that's in your head at all. Every time I've tried new tires.
Yeah.
They absolutely feel different.
Right? It's
from
different.
the last one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think, what are your thoughts on the GP 5000? Why was that your current choice?
I think they feel good.
Yeah.
The rolling resistance is noticeable compared to other tires I've tried.
Yeah, some tires are absolutely slow.
Puncture resistance, a lot of other tires seem to be rated better for puncture resistance, but even compared to Gator skins, I've gotten way more flats on Gator skins
than I
have on the 5000s.
Wow.
So I've had maybe 3 different sets of 5000s.
And Gator skin is basically their winter tire, their all season bomb-proof tire.
They got the four seasons.
Yes.
A 4-season and Gator skin, and they're both supposed to be more durable. More durable, whatever.
But higher rolling resistance.
Higher rolling resistance, more weight, whatever.
Yes.
But I've had good luck with the 5000s.
Yeah.
I've had the 4 seasons. I've had a bunch of Gator skins. I had some others before that. I forget what they were. When I initially started, I think I had Ultra Sports, but I was still getting a lot of flats on that.
Yeah.
Continental Ultra Sports.
I don't think I've ever ridden really those. Cheap. I definitely ran Gator skins in the beginning for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when you were on Gator skins.
And the Grand Prix I ran for a while too.
Yeah.
Continental Grand Prix 4000.
Yeah, I had 4000s first before Yeah, and those worked pretty well for me too. I mean, I don't think I had too many flats on that.
Yeah.
But then I did the Michelins too, and I think I just got them maybe on a sale on Bike Tires Direct, perhaps. And I got them because they were blue, and I forgot what else was going on. I was doing something blue related on my previous white frame.
Yep.
Well, maybe I had some blue grip or a blue bag, and so I put the blue tires.
It looked clean.
And I don't think I ever had a flat.
Wow.
I ran through those tires all the way.
We shouldn't be talking about this.
No flat.
Is this going to be bad karma for us on the ride tonight?
It's done now.
No, and I honestly don't.
We've done it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really believe in karma. I don't think that's bullshit. I'm not going to knock on any wood or anything. I'm not going to pretend to knock on wood. I hope I don't get a flat tonight. I haven't gotten a flat in a while. I also do run tubeless, and I swear by tubeless. I know there's a lot of tubeless skeptics out there.
I'm not skeptic. I'm not skeptical. I just haven't done it for the road bike. I loved it on the gravel bike. I just never made the switch on my road bike.
Yeah.
So I ran through the Michelins.
Yeah.
Bought one more.
Oh, right. I remember this.
And then on my first ride with them, I got a flat.
It sucks.
And then immediately ordered different tires.
That sucks. I've had that happen before to me too.
Right back to the 5000s.
Maybe that was even last year. I did a pair of GP 5000s and bought a new pair, put them on, and got a slash in one. And I was like, oh. And I'm one of those riders that's vain enough to want matching tires. So if I have a slash in one tire, what do I do with that other tire? I throw out the one with the slash in it. I replace them both. The front one sits on my back deck maybe for a week or so as the sealant dries out. Then I bring it back inside. I wrap it up and put a rubber band around it. It goes in a bin. And then in 6 months when I'm like, I have way too much cycling stuff, I need to sell all this stuff. Then I go and I put it in a picture and put it on Facebook Marketplace, and 20% of it sells. What do you do with the rest of it? Donate it? Where can I donate this stuff? I have way too much shit.
Yeah, donating. That's probably a good idea. Maybe a place like, well, they're not called this anymore.
What,
like
the Red Shed?
Recycle a Bike.
Oh, yeah.
Red Shed's an
Red
option.
Shed, yeah.
It's like Rhode Island Bike Coalition or something. Yep. Red Shed.
Listen, if you know where I can donate stuff, I know. I could just Google it. I got a fucking podcast to put out. Shoot me an email, Jon@itsjustahill.com. Be like, we would love to take your... Listen, they're not... The tires aren't trash. They've still got life in them. But I'm a little bit... like I said, I'm vain. I want to replace my tires. I've got tubes hanging around. I don't even use fucking tubes anymore. Now I'm swearing. I'm getting all worked up. Shoot me an email, Jon@itsjustahill.com, Jon. Don't put an H in there. And let me know where I can donate them, because...
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah.
Or even, you ever see people that do, like, sculptures with recycled tires and stuff? And it's like, I could do something fun. I'm never going to do that. Tires. I'm never going to do it, but wouldn't it be great?
I'm never going to do that. I will say, I was talking about my bike rack earlier. Great option for a used tire. Take a used tire, cut a slice of it, boom, boom. You got about 6 inches of a tire, of a tube. I said tire, I meant tube.
Oh, tube, yeah.
And then that goes on the strap. So the strap that goes over your rear wheel, you don't have that plastic strap on your rear wheel for my bike rack. Jason Barron drove at MBX, hooked that up for me. Slip that tube right on there. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and put it right here in the video of the podcast.
Just so it's a little more cushion for that piece, yeah?
Yeah.
So I forget who said this, but I've been using old tubes. I'll essentially cut an old tube in two spots, so I have two halves.
Yeah.
Cut the valve off, and then I use the tube to tie my wheels together, because I just have like a normal hanging clip-on bike rack, so I'll just use the tube.
Right. So
around
your
my
tires
wheels,
don't turn.
So my wheels don't spin.
Yeah.
On the
I've seen
highway.
that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've also seen mechanics use an old tube to get like a crank that they can't get loose, like a crank bolt. So like you got your big old Allen key inside your hub, right? Because you're trying to get the crank off.
Yeah.
But you can't get the right amount of leverage. So you take the tube, you put it on the L of the Allen key, and then around the pedal. And around the pedal, and around the pedal, so it pulls them together. Wow. And then with all the layers, it boom pops that crank if it's hard. I've seen some videos like that on Instagram.
Damn.
Yeah. So I mean, there's reasons to keep them around.
Definitely.
But I don't. It is like cycling can be a. There are a lot of expendables. Let's say that. Right?
Yeah, it makes me feel bad, especially with the tubes.
They're expendables.
Tubes in the tires.
Tubes, CO2 cartridges, another big one. If you're a CO2 head, those things can be really wasteful.
It's one of the reasons I stopped doing CO2.
Same, because I'm not going to stop using gels or like eating food that's in a wrapper. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm going to make things at home, but like I'm still going to like eat a Rice Krispie treat or a Fig Newton or a gel, and those wrappers do become wasteful. It is nice to like be conscious of the amount of waste, and hopefully people aren't just throwing them out on the side of the road, because I do see a lot of litter, cycling based litter, like honey stinger wrapper, you know what I mean?
Yeah
it's from a friggin' cyclist. But
hopefully all those fireballs aren't from cyclists.
so many fireball nips.
I would prefer them be from cyclists rather than drivers.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Brian, I think that maybe you've shuffled cars a bit in the past year or so, but do you have Continental tires on your car right now?
I think I might.
You do?
I think I might.
Legend.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
That's a legendary move. That's a flex. You should be flexing that because you got Contis on your bike and on your car.
Yeah, but
that's cool as hell. I got like Yokohamas.
Yeah. I think I do have Continentals right now. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't choose them. They came on the car. I've had the car for just shy of 3 years. So I haven't had to change tires yet.
All right. Well,
but yeah, no, it's cool.
It's very cool. I think it's very cool. Do you think we should be measuring our tires, or is that entirely too much?
Just see like how they compare to the marketed width.
Yeah. Or to see what they're running.
I guess it's nice to know. But what if it's different than the marketed number?
Well, it probably is.
And it probably will, because it all depends on the internal width.
Yeah.
With how much it makes the tire bulge and whatnot. But
right. I don't
know. What do you think about it?
I think it's a more interesting question for people who like race a lot, because I do think that there, might be ways that you can like save watts, or, there might be things that you want to like lose watts on because it makes you more comfortable or whatever, but I guess I sort of mentioned this earlier about like optimization, and there's just like chase for optimization and like performance, and like, so, if you run a 30 on a 30 tire on a wheel that makes it blow up to close to a 34, the front of that tire is less aerodynamic.
Yeah,
right.
It's bulging out.
Right. And so that's why Reserve and Vittoria say, like Reserve says for their 45 50s or whatever, right, that the 29 is the best because it sits on that rim in a way that's more aerodynamic than any other tire would sit on a rim.
The actual installed width of the tire matches as close to perfect as possible with the external width of the rim.
Right.
So it's the most aero option.
Yeah. Now, I don't think I don't wear a skin suit. I don't wear an aero helmet all year, but I do think about being efficient and being aerodynamic on the bike. I run 30s because I run 30 mil tires because they're comfortable, and it's allowed me to use a lower tire pressure, which means a bigger grip surface on the ground. I don't really care that my tire is less aerodynamic than a 28 would be. I also have been running a front camera on my bike for the last 2 weeks now. That's not aerodynamic, but I don't really care about that when I'm doing when I want to have the camera. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's an ebb and a flow, or there's like a give and a take, I guess. So it really depends. I'm sure that there are riders out there that are going to go do a crit that would be like, I would never even run a camera. Like, I don't even want the little thing that mounts for the camera to go on. You know what I mean? Because that is less aerodynamic than it not being there, So I think it's all for different riders,
But also, like, something like a camera on your bike serves a certain purpose that you do really want to have.
Yeah.
So,
the trade-off is worth it.
Other choices that you're making for aero gains still help, because if you didn't make those other choices, everything about the setup would be bad, and then so you gotta pick and choose, and
it's not just one thing, right? Like it's all of the above. It's like and this is something that I hear on like other podcasts, I guess, or I read about. It's like the entire package, right? Like what's Pog's TT package, right? And I'm not talking about after he was cooling down in that stage of the Giro and his kit was a little wet and we saw what some people might call his package. I'm talking about when he's in his TT setup, right? It's not just the bike, but it's the skin suit, the bike, the helmet, the glasses. Mm-hmm. We talk about guys like Campy, who like doesn't wear glasses, and like I think a lot of us are convinced because he thinks it's more aerodynamic. He's like an aerodynamic freak. He loves being aero, and he doesn't wear glasses because he thinks it's more efficient, Because I think most riders wear glasses for a billion reasons, one of them being because they're more aerodynamic, And so I think it's not just, maybe he doesn't like the way the glasses are. And for him, the trade-off is fine because he doesn't want them in front of his eyes, right? Yeah. But
it could be his specific helmet and then the glasses that he has an option to wear.
Sure. Right. On his team with his sponsor.
We'll see what he does next year with glasses.
Right. When he's on Visma.
But I wonder why he thinks they're not aerodynamic. Obviously, he has to have been in a wind tunnel and gotten tested.
You think so?
Probably at some point in his career. So, but I wonder, like, why doesn't he think it's aero? Because of the seam in between the glasses and the helmet that's catching air? I don't know.
Well, we talk about tires and wheels going hand in hand. This is happening with like sunglasses and helmets too, right? To be like more of a package thing. Like at one point we went to the Oakley store with Nick and he hooked us up at the Oakley store. And like, it was cool how Oakley's sunglasses and helmets like they mesh really well.
Yeah. They integrate well.
Yeah. They integrate really well. Whether it's, I mean, they have those magnet ones, which are really slick, but just like the way that it all lines up. Right. And this also happens like when Specialized makes a new helmet, they get the measurements from Oakley, because those teams work together a lot, right? So that things work nicely. Same thing with, I have a Bontrager helmet, and they've been working with 100% to make sure that like they key in nicely when you want to take them off and throw them in your helmet, but they also line up nicely when you have your helmet in a good position, and it's more aerodynamic, right? Supposedly. But it is like a full package thing, and I guess it depends on like what you're weighing, right? For someone like me who wants to run a camera because I want to show that like riding on the road can be dangerous and like spread the awareness of like we should all be sharing the road together, I would rather have that footage of someone, you know, running at me and pushing me almost into a sidewalk versus being like saving 2 watts. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's just me as a guy that just likes to ride his bike a lot. I don't really race, you know, I just like think about racing once every 18 months or whatever. And that's pretty much it for me. But it really depends.
There's all these options that we have, and these are the choices we have to make.
That's true.
What matters to you, and even if you are someone who races, maybe it's better to be making safer, quote unquote, safer choices.
Yeah.
During your training rides, you have a little more weight on your bike, maybe less aero situations, and then you take those off, or you do them differently during races or events, and then that's in a way an equivalent of swinging 2 bats while you're warming up or something, you know?
Dude, I mean, I don't think we're that far removed from a time where people would have bikes that they would only train on, but then bikes that they would only race on, or even like tires that they would train with and then race tires, you know?
Yeah.
I think if you're going to race on a setup, you should probably want to ride on it a good amount. And I think that's sort of where we are right now with people that like race, whether it be gravel or road bikes. Like they ride those bikes a lot, and those bikes are really dialed in. But I think 10 years ago, it was like a wheel set that might be heavier. You're gonna train on gator skins because when you ride on the GP 5000s, they're that much smoother and that much faster. You know, it's that swinging 2 bats equivalent. Yeah. So,
swinging 2 bats.
Well, we don't have much time because we're going to get to the shop ride. Let's spend 5 minutes talking about the Vuelta. I'll be honest. I have not watched the Vuelta much. Was talking about this on the last episode of the show, that like I was feeling that I was maybe on the cusp of being burnt out by not totally burnt out, but like having a moment where I wanted to like, you know, step back from cycling a little bit. And I think by not watching 2+ hours of the Vuelta for 21 days over the course of 23 days has been really helpful for me. Taking that trip also was very helpful. That trip to Maine coincided with the first week of the race. So I wasn't trying to keep up. I wasn't even trying to look at my phone that much. I really was trying to be as disconnected as possible. And it has sort of turned into this, I'm just watching highlights. And I'm kind of okay with it. I'm not really sure what happened today. It sucks that Wout crashed the other day and DNF'd. He was having a great year. He had a really shitty beginning of the year with his crash, and then he was looking really good. He had both jerseys at one point.
Yeah, for
green and polka dot.
Numerous days, yeah.
Yep. And now he's out.
He's out.
On the day before today.
It was stage 16.
16, yeah.
That he crashed twice.
Right.
Second one was into like a big rock wall.
Yeah, side into a rock wall, essentially. And he's ended his racing season. He won't be doing Worlds. He's ended his season as of today.
Oh, I have to imagine.
Yeah. But as far as GC is concerned, 2 days ago, Ben O'Connor was only up by 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. What happened today?
No change.
No change. Still 5 seconds.
Yeah, so it was about two or 3 days in a row. There's been no change.
Gotcha. But Ben O'Connor did sort of take a big lead, like stage 3 or 4. It was pretty huge.
Yeah, that's... You know, I'm also certainly okay not watching hours of cycling every day for 3 weeks on end. But I feel like this Vuelta has been pretty exciting.
It's probably the most exciting Grand Tour.
And that makes me a little sad.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, I almost wish I didn't spend as much time watching the tour.
Yeah,
and
but
I
that's
could have
no way
spent
to
more
think.
time.
That's the past, you know?
But it's like so many exciting and crazy things have happened during this Vuelta where it's like that's the excitement you hope for.
Yeah.
With, like, for example, like you were just saying, bringing us back to it, the day Ben O'Connor went on a big break. He was in a breakaway with like 3 guys, then it went down to 2, and then he broke away. Gained like something like 6 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to be like, oh, I wish I had watched more of it, but I think there's just so much more going on in terms of like my life and bikes that like it had to take a back seat, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe I've been watching highlights. I've been listening to podcasts about it and stuff. I just haven't been watching it as much as I watched like the Giro and then the Tour. You know, I probably watched the most of the Giro.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really watched. I might have watched like some of one stage live, but I've just been doing
some of one.
I've just been doing
live.
the which I mean the Eurosport organization of their YouTube page is pretty great.
It is, yeah.
Right now,
sometimes the coverage is kind of bland. I will say the highlights are kind of bland.
Sometimes
what I will do is I'll watch those highlights and then I'll watch the Lantern Rouge highlights. And then I'll probably listen to the Lantern Rouge like full podcast, you know, like if I have time.
Yeah.
Now that I say that though, all of that time probably adds up to about 2 hours. So should I just be watching the racing? The thing is if I put that shit on my TV, I get so distracted by it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, this is more like big picture, like my life, but I'm like so easily distracted and I feel like I'm so disorganized that like I have been consciously not putting the television on. Because I can get sucked in to a stage of the Vuelta or an episode from season 20 of Survivor better than anyone else. And so I just like haven't been doing it, you know, because I've realized
or worse than anyone else. I
it
guess
depends on who you ask. Yeah, better than anyone else.
More effectively than anyone else.
But, you know, so it just comes down to like how I'm choosing to prioritize my time, you know? And as much as I love watching cycling, it just like because of like the trip that I took and because of my work schedule and also trying to treat It's Just a Hill like a job as much as I can without it like being, you know, a chore, right? Like it's like a fine balance of like this hobby and like a cycling club and a podcast and, you know, like not wanting to be burnt out on it because that's, you know, the last thing that I want. I do love bikes, but there needs to be a balance. And right now that balance does not include like putting it on. And because I think Peacock sucks, it's not like I'm like, oh, I really want to put on Peacock, because otherwise I'm putting on Tiz and I'm plugging in my laptop and it's just not as easy, you know? So
yeah,
I guess it was easier for me to find an excuse not to watch it than it was for me to actually watch it. And
but also like listening to like just watching the highlights and spending a few minutes a day doing that and then listening to the Lantern Rouge or something that is a different use of the time.
Yeah.
Because you can be like listening to Lantern Rouge while you're driving or doing something else.
Right. Prepping dinner
in a way
or
that you were not.
Right. Going on a recovery ride. Yeah.
You can't multitask while watching as well. Or, you know, it's
I can
to watch it is limiting.
I will, if I'm watching it, I'm like trying to do
in the
things.
Living room watching.
Yes. I'm trying to do, like I have a list of things to do. Right, because most of the time I work from home, I have a non-traditional schedule, so I'm like doing laundry in between meetings or whatever, but I end up just standing in front of my TV, listening to fucking Robbie McEwen say something funny, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm sucked. Like, what was I doing? You know, it's just
what time is it?
Not a productive use of my time, but still, like, it's been a lot of fun. I would like to talk about it once it wraps up a little bit more. But for now, I think that we should, instead of wrapping up the Vuelta, we should probably wrap up the show.
Well, I will say about the Vuelta, not to make it too much longer.
No. Hurry up. I got to change before the shop ride.
A lot of COVID and dropouts and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of COVID and dropouts. You got a list of dropouts there?
No, but I mean, I'm looking at all of them. I can't say all of them, but just like...
Almeida.
Almeida is out from UAE.
Yeah.
I mean, Visma lost Uterbrooks, Van Aert, and Van Barl.
Yep.
Ineos lost Aaronsman, Duplisky, and Josh Tarling.
COVID is kind of bad right now, it seems. 2
off Little Trek, 1 off AG2R.
What a statement that was. COVID is kind of bad these days.
It's
just one of those times a year that COVID is bad.
It's unfortunate timing. So that's all.
Yeah.
Sucks.
No, it does suck.
Changing the shape of the race again, just like almost every
like it has for
Grand
3
Tour
years
for the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Oh, and I don't know if I really want to talk about this too much, but did you see Primo's bike change on that one stage?
Yeah.
And then he got relegated for drafting the car.
20 seconds.
Don't change your fucking bike like that. Why did he do that?
Yeah, because then it's like, did he know in the moment that he was probably going to be relegated after? Like maybe they told him, or maybe not. I don't know. But it's just like, what the fuck?
Why did he?
You'd make the bike change.
He
knows the damn rules.
He changed his bike to go to a 1-to-1.
Yeah,
but he was on a 2x. If you're on a 2x compact, you can still get 1-to-1. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Well,
seemed weird though. Definitely seemed weird.
Thank you for another episode of the podcast, Brian. You're I said it in the beginning, but you are my podcasting partner in crime. You do the editing behind the scenes.
Yes.
You help me stay on task. I say I'm disorganized, but we've been doing this more consistently, so thank you.
I try to help you stay on task, but I'm also one of the people that one of the people. I'm the only one here.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I also bring us off topic a lot.
What do you mean? During the show?
Yeah, as soon as we start.
No, if we're sitting down and doing it, we're good.
All right. Gotcha.
Once we're here, we're good. Yeah.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
So, just let it happen.
We mentioned him before, MBX, the official bike shop of It's Just a Hill. Wednesday night training crits, Thursday night shop rides are still on for the rest of the month through September. Cross is coming. I know Cross is always coming. I feel like it's the second most used phrase in local cycling next to what's your tire pressure. But Cross is coming. Old Mountain Field Cross Training Series will be starting up in October. That's also an MBX event. They do a training series for Cross, much like they do the Trick Training Series. Follow MBX Bikes on Instagram for more. And, of course, our weekly group rides every Sunday. It's Just a Hill group rides. Location, rotation. This week, the second Sunday of the month is at MBX. Third Sunday of the month is North Scituate. Fourth Sunday of the month is North Kingstown. That will be for the rest of the season, the next few months. And Winter Bike League is just around the corner. As much as some people might hate to hear it, Winter Bike League, winter is coming. Cross is coming, winter is coming. I see a trend.
Just throw in the spirit of gravel with that. Just round it all together.
Yeah. Think of 2 more oftenly used phrases before we leave. There's also our WhatsApp chat and our Discord chat. The links are below. If you're watching this video, thank you for watching. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Reviews, liking, subscribing, all that stuff helps. Share it with your bike friends. See you on the back roads. And
remember, arrow is everything.
Arrow is everything.
And remember, hold your line. You son of a bitch.
We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.